Welcome to Research Talk. In our previous video, we talked about some historical background of grounded theory, how it was discovered, how it was developed by Anselm Strauss and Bernie Glasser. In this video, let's talk about what is grounded theory, where it is used, what kind of research questions it is used to answer, how this grounded theory approach is different from other approaches such as phenomenology, case study, ethnography, narrative inquiry. How is it different from that? So let's answer those questions. What is grounded theory, where it is used, when it is used, and how it is similar or different from other approaches. So let's start with the basic thing, grounded theory. So let's deconstruct these two terms. Let's start with the theory. Oftentimes, when people hear about grounded theory, they think about that it is a theory. Well, it's not a theory. Grounded theory is not a theory. It's a methodology. It's a research methodology which is used to answer research problems, research questions, to conduct studies. So this is, grounded theory is not a theory, it's a methodology. Now, the other term which is used here is called grounded. Why it is called grounded? The term grounded theory was developed by Bernie Glasser. He coined this term for the first time, and he chose this term grounded theory because the theory which is developed by this methodology is grounded in the data. Grounded in the data. So typically, the usual approach of developing a theory, the quantitative approach of developing a theory is through hypothesis testing. So you develop a hypothesis, then you collect data and you try to either prove it or disprove the hypothesis, and that's how you develop a theory. Now, the theory which is developed through grounded theory methodology is grounded in the data which has been developed. And that is why they use the term grounded theory, because the theory which is developed is grounded in the data, and hence the term grounded theory. So grounded theory is a research methodology, not a theory, and the theory which is developed through grounded theory is grounded in the data which has been collected. Another thing to keep in mind that the theory, when you hear the word theory, people have different perception. Sometimes the moment you hear the word theory, you think about some grand theory, the theory of evolution by Darwin, or Einstein's theory of relativity. Remember, the theories in hardcore sciences are a little, they have more power of generalizability than the theories in social sciences, theories in sociology, psychology. And the reason why it is so, because human behavior is very complex, unlike the materials behavior. Materials behavior are easy to predict, and that's why the theory have more power, generalizability power in hardcore sciences such as physics and material sciences, chemistry. But in social sciences, theories, obviously they predict, they provide a framework to understand human behavior, to understand a phenomenon, a social phenomenon. However, their power of generalizability is not as you could see in hardcore sciences. Another thing to keep in mind that the theories that are developed through grounded theory methodology is a theory and not the theory. This is also to keep in mind. And again, the same idea that a theory means that the theory is grounded in the data that you have collected. So this is the theory that you come up with, a framework that you develop, the theory that you develop, that is only explain the data that you have collected, the data that you have used as a ground to develop that theory. So a theory is, so grounded theory develops a theory, not the theory. But yes, if you are studying a social phenomena, you can keep conducting your grounded theory research, and maybe later on you can synthesize all these findings to develop a better theory that can predict more reliably to social phenomenon. So always remember, when you say grounded theory is of research methodology, and it develops a theory, not the theory. Now let's move to another question, where grounded theory is used. Where do you use grounded theory? Do you use grounded theory in understanding what kind of phenomenon, what kind of research questions or research problems does grounded theory answer? Always keep in mind, grounded theory is unique in the sense that it helps you develop or understand social processes or patterns. Social processes or patterns. So if you are exploring a phenomenon where you want to understand the underlying social processes or any kind of processes underlying a phenomenon, you want to understand the underlying framework which is causing this whole phenomenon, you want to understand a human patterns, a behavioral pattern, all those research problems are suitable for using grounded theory as a research methodology to investigate those matters. So any kind of social process, any kind of process, so that's where the grounded theory comes in very helpful research design to explore those. Let's take an example. I did one study where I wanted to understand the process involved in spiritual awakenings. So I interviewed people who claimed that they had experience of a spiritual awakening, and the focus was developing, understanding, exploring the processes behind this phenomenon of spiritual awakening. Another example, that one study that one of my supervisees is conducting, I'm supervising that study, is understanding leadership development among student athletes. How the process of leadership development looks like among student athletes in collegiate sports. So this project also includes grounded theory research methodology. Why? Because we are interested in understanding the process, the framework that explain leadership development among student athletes. There is another study that I'm supervising, again a grounded theory, where we want to understand how school principals in high school, what are the processes involved when it comes to discipline-related decisions against a student. So when a student is found in indisciplined activities in the school, when decisions are made, what type of punishment should be delivered to the student, then what processes are involved, how these decisions are being made, what are some contextual factors, contextual variables that influence that decision making. So here again in this study, we are interested in understanding the process of discipline-related decisions. So coming back to the question that we are exploring is when grounded theory should be used in qualitative research. You use grounded theory in research when you are interested in understanding a social process. You want to understand a pattern, and that's how you develop the theory that explains those social processes. You develop a framework that explains those processes. So grounded theory is a suitable qualitative methodology to understand and explore social processes, patterns underlying a phenomenon. Now, the final question we want to explore in this video is how grounded theory is similar or different from other approaches. So let's start with phenomenology. In phenomenology, the focus is on description of the phenomenon. Description of the phenomenon. So when you do phenomenology, you focused on lived experiences and you try to get a very detailed description of the phenomenon. So the focus is on description, while in grounded theory, the focus is on understanding processes, frameworks. While in phenomenology, the focus is on description of the phenomenon. Now let's talk about another qualitative approach, which is narrative inquiry. In narrative inquiry, the focus is on collecting stories and how those stories are shaping, individual stories are shaping an individual's lives. How those stories are connected with, the individual stories are connected with other stories, such as community story or broader social, political, economic stories of the time. So how these stories are intertwined, how they are influencing each other, and how these stories are shaping an individual life, including the decisions they are making, the life they are living, the experience they are having, and how they are making meanings and interpreting those experiences through the stories they are telling themselves and the stories they are being told by others as well. So narrative inquiry as a methodology, qualitative methodology, is focused on collecting individual stories and understanding those stories in the context of human experience, in the context of how they are shaping human life, individuals' life, and the broader stories as well. So narrative inquiry is focused on stories. Now let's talk about another methodology, which is case study. Now, in case study design, your focus is on focusing on one case or a collection of cases. So you focus on one case and you go in the detailed analysis of that one case or maybe a cluster of cases. So the focus is on case in case study. Now, in ethnography, which is another popular qualitative methodology, the focus is on understanding a culture, community, life, and practices. So that's the focus of ethnography. You are focused on culture, community. So you see, grounded theory as a qualitative research methodology is focused on understanding the underlying processes in a phenomenon, understanding the framework that govern a behavior, understanding patterns that are underlying in a phenomenon. So you are focusing on understanding processes, social processes and patterns. In phenomenology, you are focused on not on understanding processes, but a detailed description of the phenomenon that you are investigating, and you are trying to see the themes out of those descriptions. In narrative inquiry, your focus is on stories and how those stories are shaping individual life and decisions, as well as overall community and broader social, political, economic stories. In case study, your focus is on one case, and you try to go into deeper analysis of that one case or maybe a cluster of cases. So you try to bound the case based on geographic, based on certain criteria. In ethnography, your focus is on understanding a culture, a community, and the practices they are having. So now I think now you have a better sense of how grounded theory is different from all these different other qualitative approaches. So let's summarize it. Grounded theory is not a theory, it's a research methodology, a qualitative research methodology. The term grounded theory was given by Bernie Glasser, who co-developed with Strauss innovative tool methodology to understand social processes. And grounded theory is different from other approaches because it is focused on understanding processes and frameworks. So when you think about, developing your own proposal for your doctoral program, or you are doing an independent study, you are not sure about should you use grounded theory or not, always ask yourself what I'm interested in. Do I want to understand the social processes? Do I want to understand the framework? Do I want to understand the contextual factors which are influencing this phenomenon, which are implicated in this phenomenon? So if you're interested in those kind of research questions, grounded theory is the most suitable methodology to conduct your study. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again in another video on grounded theory.